What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Jesus Coin at the request of Celos. We're going to do an emergency update at Celos's request right now today. So here we go. Yes, very beautiful move up. We're up 6.2% today. Yesterday we were up 68.5%. Beautiful move. We actually haven't seen a day like that since May of 2023. I should say a day that's bigger than that. The last day that we saw those in the 60 percentile, or 60% growth range was back here in October, but it was 61%. The only other time that we've seen from an open to close basis a day like this that was bigger than this was back in May. It was like 100% growth. While it is exciting, I do want to say, I forget when it was. Maybe it was my last Jesus Coin video. Maybe it was one of the last three, but I know it was within one of the last three, somewhere in this area, that I was talking about. We could move all the way back up to this blue line. We could even move past it, and that's still a lower high. It's still in this range of lower highs, guys. It's not anything that should get you, I mean, while it's exciting, right? We've seen these kind of moves before with Jesus Coin where you can move up a solid bit. You moved up 114%, and then from there you dropped 70%. You know what I mean? Is this a possible area that this could be a bottom? Could we move lower? Could we bounce from here? Could that be the low itself? All of those answers are maybe, right? I do personally, at this moment, I do expect that we will not go above these highs and that we will go above these lows, right? At the current moment. That can change. That can absolutely change. There's a couple things that would have to happen for that to change. First off, maybe we find resistance here, we do go lower, and we find a double bottom. Maybe we find a higher low. You know, one of those two. Maybe we just break straight through this area of potential resistance. We go up here and we form a higher high. That's a lot more work in the more immediate term, but can't get bearish with very bullish results. You know, I mean, that's just the case. I'm not necessarily bearish here. I am excited to see the growth. I wouldn't even be surprised if we moved up a little bit more, but I'm not bullish in the sense that I think we're taking that we've bottomed and that we're going to go up from here. It's possible. I do accept it as a possibility. From this low to this high, I have labeled this area as like the minimum necessary area to hit to find a low, and we have hit it. We have hit that minimum. I'm just not convinced yet. You got to convince me more. This is impressive, I'm not going to lie, but you know what's not impressive? The volume. The volume is very, very unimpressive. We saw $1.2 million in 24 hours on an asset that's worth $25.6 million. It's not a lot of volume, guys. That's not, in my opinion, that's really not a lot of volume for that big of a day. Why did we pump this hard in that short amount of time? Well, we moved down for a long time unchecked. The order books are very thin. There's low liquidity. It's very easy to move price up. If we look at this on a 4-hour basis, you can see that initially, like there's an 8-hour period where we did most of the growing, right? Most of the volume came in, though, toward the top. Actually, maybe we can see that better on a 1-hour. A lot of volume here, but most of the volume came in around here, right? It has since died off. We're moving up a little bit still, but there were a lot of people that bought up here. There were probably a lot of people that sold up here too, which, you know, again, if we do this, let's see. Like right up there, yeah. Most of the volume happened after this line, right? So at the top. Most people got involved at the top, which means that there are people who are FOMOing on this thing, right? You're getting that fear of missing out, and the thing is you're doing it on a lower high. You're doing it on an area that could potentially be resistance. We found support here, right? Once, twice, 3 times. We could turn around from right here. It's possible. Maybe we don't. Maybe we go a little bit higher, and that would make sense to me as well, because from top to bottom, your 382 is a little higher. It's very common on your first pass with the 382 to go a little bit above it, find resistance a little bit above it, and you know what's right above it is that 123 moving average, that blue line. That 123 is right there. We could go literally up to about 60185 and then turn around, still promoting lower highs throughout this whole range. And if we're getting lower highs and lower lows, we just formed our next lower high. What's to come, like if you would safely assume, would be a lower low. And this does fit. This does fit as a minimum target for a bottom. There's not a lot of volume coming off of this, right? But I mean, to be fair, we didn't have a lot of volume coming off of this low either, right? The volume came afterwards. It doesn't have to happen perfectly. It doesn't have to be ideal. This could be the low. It is possible. I'm just not anticipating it yet, right? Man, my nose is itchy. You know, here we at least had the higher high to go off of, right? We rejected a little bit, but we found support at a previous area of support, kind of a previous area of resistance, and then moved up higher. We don't have any of that yet. So best case scenario, in my opinion, is that Jesus coin still does move down from, if not here, from relatively around here. Man, my nose is really itchy, you guys. I'm not like doing anything weird. I'm just itching my nose, man, because it is itchy. I don't know why. It's like not letting me be. Best case scenario would be that we still go down from here, but we find a higher low. We find a double bottom. We find a slightly lower low, something like that. I wouldn't even say this is the worst case scenario, but worst case scenario would be that we continue down the trend, right? Worst case scenario would be that we go to zero, but I don't think we're going to do that. Relative low to this high here, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw the 618. I really wouldn't be surprised if we saw the 618 as a bottom. We might not. We could hold the 0.5 as support. I wouldn't be surprised if we held that as support either. That does fit kind of the ideal range that I'm looking for, where I would be interested in buying. We got close, but I definitely didn't buy more on this dip. I don't feel any FOMO. I don't feel any remorse at all. I do want to buy more Jesus coin if it were to go lower, but I'm definitely not gonna buy up here. If I had any kind of like words of caution, not financial advice, but if you're the emotional person and you know who you are, you're probably watching this video, you know, and you bought here, you bought where most of the volume was, which is at the top of this range. You better freaking not, if this pulls back, you better not sell down here. You better not sell down here. That doesn't look like it's too far away, does it? But from the current price, I mean, at the top of that circle, that's a 26% drop. That would be a potential of like a 45% drop. You better not sell down there. If you bought up here, you got to suck it up. If the price goes lower, suck it up. You're still buying at a relatively cheap price, right? Like, look at it for what it is. You're still buying at a relatively cheap price from the all-time high, right? But you got to suck it up and just own that you bought at a wrong time. You bought a high. It happens. And then instead of selling when it goes lower, buy more. Buy more. You know, buy more, because we all know where this thing's going inevitably, right? It's gonna go a lot higher than where it is now. I just don't think it's ready yet. And do what you want. No, this is financial advice, you know, but the wallets here, that number's stayed the same more or less for like the past like month or so, right? It hasn't really increased, which means that most of you, whoever bought up here, if not all of you, probably could have bought down here, but you didn't, right? You didn't buy the low, you bought the high, and that's okay. I could be wrong. Maybe we do just continue to go in a straight line. That's okay. I would happily be wrong. If I'm wrong, I make plenty of money, and so do you guys. I would prefer that, but I don't think I am going to be wrong. I do think that this is going to be another lower high, right, in a series of lower highs. Yes, you broke out of this kind of trend down, but if we drew a line, if we drew a very straight line here, come on now, from this top to this high, that what is going on with my mouse, man? You can see that we broke out of that line as well, and it didn't mean anything, right? So all I'm trying to say is we could go up a little bit higher, hit the 382, hit this blue line. We could even see the 236. It's completely possible to see the 236. It's actually very common to do this exact maneuver. See the 236 at about 6022, and then move down. Going below the 382, finding resistance at your 236, going down to your 0.5, your 618, very, very common maneuver. But until we take out this high, which is way higher than we are now, right? That's at like 603. Until we take out that high, I'm not really convinced that we're doing anything but going lower. And maybe if we went up here, we didn't take out that high, but we did something like this, we could be forming some kind of weird inverted head and shoulders pattern. I might turn bullish if we did something like that. But at the moment, I shouldn't say I'm not excited. I love to see this kind of price action, but it hasn't moved me, right? It hasn't moved me. I'm not I'm really not too impressed by this. I would say that, you know, patience will still play out to the downside, but I can be wrong. I've been wrong before. If we look at the daily, you do have higher lows or higher highs in your RSI while promoting lower highs in price. That is hidden bearish divergence. On the weekly, if price were to close at these levels, you'd be rejecting the 50 area, an area that you found support. That wouldn't be a good look as well. The 4-hour is pretty damn overbought. I definitely, you know, anybody looking to buy now, I wouldn't recommend it. Even if I'm wrong and the price goes up higher, likely you will see some kind of pullback at prices that are lower than this, right? At least down to like 6 zeros, 1 2, 6 zeros, 1 3. Here we are at 6 zeros, 1 7 almost. So, you know, it's definitely not, in my opinion, an ideal time to buy. I'm not fear mongering. I'm not trying to influence the price. I have like 200 to 600 people watch this out of 15,400 wallets. Okay, it's not. I mean, it's a small chunk. But that's not enough to influence the price. The liquidity is low. Stuff like this happens whenever the liquidity is low, and it gives it right back too. So I would love to be wrong about this, guys, but until proven wrong, I'm standing firm in the idea that we do go lower. I very much do expect that we go lower. This price area right here, at the highs, at the lows, it just makes sense to me. The 707 area, 706 area is calling my name, and until we see something that kind of shuts that up, I'm believing that that's going to happen. And right now, this is very bullish, but I'm not too impressed. Okay, I'm really not too impressed. We've seen in a day before, we've seen us go up 134% in a 2-day span, and then we gave it all back in 3 days later, right? So these kind of things happen. These kind of things do happen, and very low volume, right? Very, very low volume. Volume was picking up here as we were having these more bullish moves. Volume picked up here as we were going more bullish, right? More volume than we have here. Not as much as over here, but definitely more volume than we have here. So I'm just beating a dead horse with this, man. The main reason that I keep talking about the downside is I don't want to see anybody FOMO in at the top. If you are one of those people, you can't help it. You want to buy here. You feel like you missed your chance, so you want to buy here before it really takes off. Okay. What I would recommend is that if you buy here, you better not let it go for like a year, for like 6 months. You better not let it go in 3 days or in 3 weeks when it goes lower than this low. You better not. If you're going to buy here on the high at a percentage that is up from its relative low, up 90% over 2 days, you want to buy it here, then own it. If this happens, own it. And continue to own it and buy more, right? You don't buy here, you don't sell here. But if you do buy here, you better not sell here. You better not sell anywhere on this way down, okay? Just add more to it or be patient. It sucks. It feels like you got punched in the gut, and you might be laughing at me right now. You might be like, I don't know, man. I get it. All these things you were calling it to go down, sure, but they didn't have a move like this where it was 68%. I get it. It seems a bit against like common sense almost, right? But what's common sense to me is this high, this high, this high, this high. You know what they all got in common? They're lower highs. What follows them? Lower lows. You know, that's can't get more basic than that. So yes, price can go up a little bit higher. If it does, cool. I doubt we're going to see anything like this. I'm not impressed yet. And if we do see prices like this, what would likely happen first is that we would pull back, find some kind of higher low or even a double bottom or even a slightly lower low, and then we would move up, right? That's not really slightly lower. I meant to draw it like right here. My mouse slipped, but the main thing that I would like to address again is if you're buying here, you better not sell on the lows, okay? You want to buy the highs, play that game. Go for it. Maybe it plays out. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe you'll be vindicated. That would be great. I want that for you. I genuinely would love to be wrong. I genuinely would. But if I'm not, and if you are, you better not sell at lower prices. You better eat this and just own it. Because if you play the game, you sell down here, and then it pumps, you're in a really bad situation, man. If you sell down here and it goes lower, cool. Are you going to buy down here, or are you going to wait for the next pump to buy? Like, you know, it just, how I would go about it and how I am going about it is every buy that I have is going to be held for at least like several months, if not potentially a year or more even, right? Toward the end of this cycle or until we see our next big leg up. I'm definitely not selling anywhere near these highs, right? We're going to have to go to the 5-0 land before I even think about selling any of my coins. So That's the same outlook that I want you guys to have. That's not financial advice. That's not me trying to like pump the price or dump the price or any of that. I'm just genuinely concerned for the euphoria that might surround a move like this. And I get it. It happens, but just be smart, okay? And if you don't buy here, if you do what I would do, which is not buy here, and it does take off without you, you got to eat that too. You don't want to risk that? Okay, buy here, go for it. But then if it goes down, you better not sell. You just better not. You better, it's one way or another. And I don't know. I feel like if you wanted to buy, like me, I wanted to buy Jesus coin. I did it a while ago. So if I'm wrong and it goes up, I'm in a position where I still make money, right? If you wanted to buy Jesus coin and you've been watching it go down all this time, you probably should have DCA'd at some point into it, right? I know I was bullish on it over here, right? If you bought any of the times that I was bullish on it, you would be down still. Well, yeah, technically you'd still be down. But you could have added to it when it goes lower, And when you add to things, don't throw like 100% of what's left. If you bought down here and it goes here, you don't put the rest of your money in down here. I mean, go for it if you want to, but take nibbles. You take nibbles on the way down. And then if it goes well below where your first purchase was, you can unload it or something like that. But it's not financial advice. It's just my opinion. That's how I do it. That's how I would do it. But I definitely have some cash sitting on the side that I plan on putting into Jesus coin. I love seeing it at this big of a discount, but I'm waiting for it to go lower before I put more money into it. Man, I'm saying the same stuff. I keep going over it because I genuinely am. I'm excited that the price is up, but I'm not convinced. I'm not impressed, and I'm more worried, if anything, for the people who are looking to buy this thing right now. I don't know. If you wanted to get in, you should have done it already, is my opinion, right? You should be in a point where all you're doing is buying the lows and not buying the highs if you want to do that, right? If you've been waiting to buy, I get it, man. I've been calling for prices to go lower. I said that we'd hit the 7-0 land. We did. This was the minimum targets that I gave, 84% of a discount. If you didn't buy there or even at this high, this relative high here at an 82, 81% discount, and you're waiting for that 90% target, okay, why are you going to buy here? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. So I don't know. Just be smart, guys. I don't want to see anybody get screwed because, again, the emotional people that are buying here will likely be the emotional people that sell here, and you're doing it backwards at that point. If you wanted to trade this, you would sell here, you would buy here, you would sell here, you'd buy here, but probably you wouldn't even like catch that really unless you were lucky or catching like really short-term time frames. You'd buy here, you would sell here. We're in an area where you would sell. That, at least to me, that would make sense. So I'm done. If you like the video, hit that like button. I really do love Jesus coin. I want to see it do well. I think it will do well. I just don't think it's the time yet. We probably have more downside to go, and then we'll go up. But I would love to be wrong. I would love it for everybody to just make money on this, even the people who are FOMOing in at the top. But that's not normally how it works. So let's just see. Let's see how it goes. I'm anticipating that all of this move will be given back and then some. So without any further ado, that's all I got for you. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you want to see more. Thank you all for coming. Take care. Bye-bye.